What do you mean it's a pro-life film? It's the original 16 and Pregnant. Today we're doing Juno.
Yep, we watched Juno, and I really don't know what to say at this point except that I hate this movie so much more than I remember hating it when I first saw it.
Right, like the first time I saw it, I just kind of couldn't quite put my finger on what was wrong with it. Now, the whole thing annoys me.
Exactly. Well, my name is Soulkeeper, everybody.
And I'm Astrid.
And welcome back to another unfortunate case of movie. Dear God, Juno had to be one of the most insufferable movies I have seen in a long time.
Yeah, it was a sanctimonious piece of trash.
And what really gets me is that I was reading about this movie just to prep for what we're going to do today. And I was disturbed to find out that the writer, Diablo Cody, that's her pen name, I guess. But she claims she doesn't understand why people think this is an anti-choice or pro-life movie. And I'm just sitting here after watching it go, you don't see it? What do you think you wrote?
Oh, she sees it. She just don't want to admit it.
Obviously, I don't know how anyone could look at this and not see it.
You can't.
I literally went on Amazon looking for reviews, and on the positive section, there were maybe 600 some odd reviews, and most of them were pro-life people chirping about it, talking about how great it is and what a moral message it spreads and all that good stuff. I couldn't see it at all in this movie. This movie was a very obvious piece of propaganda in my eyes.
Yep, and you can see it early on when we'll get there in a second. What did you think this was going to be before you saw it the first time?
You know, I thought it would be a movie about a girl who's forced to have a baby because of circumstances. Like there's no abortion clinic where she lives, or else her father is very much an evangelical religious person or some other type of Christian religious person who just kind of hates his daughter and wants to punish her for having sex. And so he makes her have the baby and she has to go through all that and stuff like that. I thought that this was going to be that kind of movie.
Okay.
But it wasn't at all. It was kind of just a bunch of propaganda and reinforcement of lies.
Yeah.
Disturbingly so.
Yeah. Before I saw it, I thought it was going to be a lot more like 16 and Pregnant. 'Cause, it's like they show like the little one-liner, like funny quips that she's, sarcastic things that she says to people.
Yeah.
So I was thinking it would be like, whoops, got pregnant. And either like you're saying couldn't get an abortion or had like pro-life family and decides to keep it. But that it would be more about like the pregnancy and like, oh, wow, this is hard. It sucks. I'm peeing myself all the time. I can't stop farting. Like, oh, everybody's laughing at me at prom. I thought it was going to be like a teen pregnancy movie.
That's what really got me about this too.
Yeah, I didn't think it was going to be like just skip right over that like whole thing.
I can't believe it didn't talk about the hardships of pregnancy at all.
Yeah.
She kind of just coasted through it for the whole movie.
She really did. They didn't even show like the traditional like showing some of the labor and like the pain. They showed like a tiny bit of that. And then after that, and then they had her crying, like, spoiler, after she has the baby, like she's gonna miss it. And like, I'm sorry, that's not how it necessarily always works. It was like a long ad for adoption.
It really felt like the most dishonest portrayal of a pregnancy I had seen in any film up to date.
Yeah, especially in somebody that age and that size, like you're very likely to have complications. And you certainly, especially for your first child, tend to have a more difficult labor. And she just kind of pooped that baby out.
It seemed like it was very, I don't know if easy is the right word, but it seemed easier than it should have been.
Yeah, no, definitely. I think that they showed it to be way too easy.
And it didn't really suggest that there was going to be any long-term complications from her going through this, but We know what pregnancy is. We know there are complications that go along with it.
Oh, yeah. For like up to a year after you give birth, you're at a higher risk of just dying out of nowhere.
Unlike how this movie portrays, pregnancy isn't something you just leap into all willy-nilly with a cavalier attitude.
Right.
It's a serious medical condition.
Right. Yep. Yep.
And there needs to be serious consideration about the consequences of going through it before you actually do it.
There really do.
Because one of the side effects could very likely be death.
Yep.
Even today.
Yes, especially where we live in the United States.
Because there's a serious maternity mortality rate here.
Yes, it's the worst, I think, in the whole Western world.
It's really pathetic when you really think about it.
Yeah, well, maybe not in the whole Western world, but like...
It's up there.
It's up there.
That's
like
for sure.
Industrialized countries, it might be, I think it's one of the highest.
Yeah, it's up there and it's shameful.
Yeah.
So, I guess let's talk about what this movie actually was, huh?
Yeah.
Even though we kind of already have been at this point.
Yeah, I figured we already slid right into that. So I have two main problems. Well, three, really, with this movie.
Let's be honest, there's a litany of problems. There's no point in numbering them.
Yeah, but I think that I can categorize them all into three discrete areas.
All right, we'll go off. What's the first one?
Okay, so my first problem is, like I was already talking a little bit about, the way that they just kind of, like, gloss over the difficulties of a pregnancy and, like, how that happens with a teenager. And,
absolutely.
like, how she got, like, pregnant. They did the worst plotline ever for how she got pregnant. Like, they couldn't even, it was a perfect opportunity to be like, bored, horny teens with no sex ed. I wonder how they got pregnant. No, she seems to have had a regular sex ed class, and it's just, oh, we were bored, so we did it on a chair, and then I left my panties at his house.
She seems to have had sex ed, and then they had sex like she didn't believe what she heard in the class or something.
Right? Like, you didn't use a condom, you didn't even pull out.
Did they not actually have sex ed, or is that the implication here? I feel like this is something that we should have talked about in the movie, whether or not they actually had sex ed, because I never really heard them talking about it at all at any point.
I think they had to have. Because if she didn't have any sex ed, like not enough sex ed to know how babies are made, then she wouldn't have known how to Google an abortion.
Well, I guess that's true enough.
I thought that's part of my problem with this, is they made it because they made her like a reasonably smart girl.
And if she's reasonably smart, surely she knows what happens when someone ejaculates inside her.
That's all I'm saying. Like, why'd you have to be like teenagers? They only have sex because they're bored and stupid. Like, what the hell is that about?
The other thing that really gets me is that this is like a hipster movie, very obviously, all the graphics that are in there.
Yeah, the music was really annoying.
The music that was so pretentious and annoying, and all ukulele nonsense. Yeah. And then just the lingo that went along with it that was trying way too hard to be hip. Mm-hmm. And you know what? People then didn't talk like that. They don't talk like that now. They didn't talk like that before that. No teenagers talked like that then.
Yeah, it was like the dialogue was all written by the people who did Gilmore Girls.
I don't know why she wrote the script like this. You know what teenagers tend to talk like? There's some bits and pieces of slang in there sometimes, but generally they talk like normal people. Right. Like you and me.
Yeah, they don't answer the phone like yo, 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 yiggity, yo.
Yeah, they don't go out of their way to sound hip. Yep. Because you know why? They don't want to sound like an asshole.
Yep. Yep, that's fair. That's fair.
And guess what these people sound like? They sound like assholes. Yep. Yep. And from such a hipster movie, I'm surprised that it's so conservative. I learned something this movie, that hipsters are actually very conservative based on the way this film was made.
I went to school with a lot of hipsters, so that doesn't surprise me.
That kind of surprises me, because from the vibe you get, you think, oh, well, these people are going to be fairly progressive. Nope.
No, because remember, they come from rich families. Their whole thing is that they're pretending to be working class.
Yeah, well, now I know that.
They come from conservative homes with conservative views, and they're playing like they didn't. That's a hipster.
Yes, I am very much picking up on that vibe these days. Yep. I have been for the past couple of years at least. Yep. And now I know better. Yep. But before this... Wow, Didn't know that. You guys, you suck. Hipsters are terrible.
Yeah.
Oh my god. So moving on then, wow, just
Yeah.
the way this movie was written was ridiculous. Why did she have to write them like that? Write them like a bunch of dickheads.
She didn't have to.
Just give them proper dialogue.
Right? Does she not remember being a teenager?
Does she remember ever talking like that when she was a teenager? Does she remember just slang upon slang upon slang?
What if she did talk like that when she was a teenager? What if she said words like pork sword?
Well, then I guess she might have been a loser.
Probably.
I can't
I don't
recall.
know that Juno was written like a winner.
Oh, well, I guess that's true.
So I don't know why she's friends with the cheerleader.
I don't really have problems with Juno's overall persona in the movie. I do think she's kind of an asshole.
She's an asshole to her parents, but that's my third problem with this movie, and we're not there yet.
Yeah, I know. She takes everything for granted, it seems like.
She really does. She really does.
And she's really, really, like you say, mean to her parents, and I don't know why. She has literally no reason because they seem to be the most supportive parents in the world.
Right? She's got a chip on her shoulder, and there's no reason for it to be there.
What was your other problem with this?
My second problem with this movie is the pro-life way that they handled, like, when she went to the abortion center and the way that they handled the adoption.
Oh, yeah.
I'm lumping those together because both my problems are with the pro-life nature of them.
So much.
Yeah, no, we got to break down this abortion scene. So she like Googles it or whatever. She decides she's going to go there. She's got her friend picking her up at like 4 o'clock after the abortion.
All seems to be well at this point.
It's all set up. She knows what she wants. She's getting it done that day. She goes to the clinic and there's one lone like classmate standing outside with like the sign with the big, happy white baby on it.
Yeah, and then you have themselves a little conversation about...
No baby likes murder or being murdered. I don't know. And yeah, and they have like a conversation because she's like, your baby probably has a heartbeat. It has fingernails. And she like is interested instead of being like, fuck off. Just like, fingernails? Really? Like,
she just swallows it. Hook, line, and sinker.
Yeah.
Like she shouldn't be suspicious of the crazy person outside the clinic.
Right.
Protesting something that...
Right.
Doesn't even necessarily have anything to do with having an abortion.
Yeah.
It's a women's clinic. They do other things besides that.
Yeah.
So many other things.
A lot of other things. And I think that it was irresponsible to show standing outside the abortion clinic harassing people as an effective technique to get people to reconsider an abortion. Because it's not an effective technique. It's harassment. And also, like, they just had her out there doing lies, and they never, ever correct those lies.
They never, ever confront her about it.
She goes home and tells her family about, like, did you know it has fingernails? Like, I can't get rid of it now.
Juno never confronts this girl ever again the whole movie.
Right.
And she should have, because that would have been good writing.
Yeah. Yeah. So yeah, and I don't like that they and especially don't like that they showed it with, it wasn't even like the big crowd out there looking threatening. It was specifically one person. Like, so that you can, as like a pro-life group who plans to go out as a group and harass people, you can like watch this movie to psych yourself up, and it'll be like, see, that's the difference one person can make. She just saved a baby's life. She granted this parent their best wishes, and all it took was the courage to stand up for your beliefs.
Yeah, it was...
Like, God, gag me.
I felt just offended by the way that this movie never confronted those lies. For a movie that is supposed to be, what? Pro-choice and feminist, supposedly?
Yep.
Based on all the material that I've read about it?
Yep.
I'm not seeing it if you're not confronting that stuff and debunking it pretty much immediately.
Yeah, and don't act like that's an intentional choice. Like, it's like, oh, they want it to be realistic and she's young and dumb and won't look up facts. Like, it's not realistic that she's going to find the random rich, white couple that's going to adopt your baby, like, and pay for all of your medical expenses, and that it's all going to go just as planned.
I'm not saying that you have to write a treatise or anything and go into YouTube talker mode or anything like that to debunk all this stuff, But she could have at least gone into the clinic and talked with a doctor, for Christ's sake, and asked them questions.
Right, and when she got inside the clinic, because she does go inside the clinic briefly before she panics and runs out, they didn't have to make the people in there the way that they did. They made it look like a bus stop. There was a girl in there painting her nails red. Like, oh, you know.
Oh, just another day for me.
Yep, just another day at the abortion clinic. This must be my 10th one. Like, we know what you're trying to say when you do that. Then the girl working the counter is, like, goth or whatever with all those piercings. Like, you're making it look like an alternative, weird, like, satanic, I don't know, choice. Like, it's a whole lifestyle instead of just something that a third of women go through.
What do they think happens at these places? This isn't some kind of weird place. It's a very normal place where people go to get health care.
Right. And
specifically women, because obviously it offers women's health services. Yeah.
And also, I don't like that they had the lady behind the desk telling her, like, we need your whole intimate sexual history. And then she said, I think the quote was like, we need to know every sore and every score. Like,
who asks about every lay you've had?
No, they might ask you for like a number of sexual partners you think you've had, but they're not going to make you like write down everyone's name and, you know, like,
no place does that.
They're
probably going to ask you if you have any STDs or STIs or anything.
Yes, because especially if you've got something like going on down there active at the time, then you might need a C-section. Well, no, you're going to have an abortion, so that wouldn't matter. I'm thinking delivery.
Yeah.
But,
But they're definitely not going to go into your long, detailed sexual history with every single encounter documented. No, that's not how it works, bro.
Yep.
That's dumb.
Yep.
And also, the person behind the counter isn't going to be all professional and tell a 16-year-old that the condoms on the counter make her boyfriend's junk smell like pie.
Oh, yeah, they did that. Okay, right? And then they're like...
These are professionals.
Right? They're not going to give you the flavored ones. And if they do, they're going to tell you not to do anything with your vagina on them. She's like, my boyfriend, you know... Like, because the way that they were talking about him did not imply oral sex. And you don't... It's the way to get a yeast infection, man.
Do they not understand that those are not meant for vaginal intercourse?
Those are not. They're not. Don't do that, guys. It's bad for you.
Those are flavored condoms. 3 guesses what they're for.
Right. Oh, it was weird.
The flavored condoms are for fellatio, dude.
Yep.
That's what they're there for.
Yep, he's doing something wrong.
Wow.
Yeah. And this is always my pet peeve with abortions in like the Hollywood stuff, is they almost never show the pill abortion. This is another very early pregnancy being terminated with a D&C, IDX. Like, why?
I don't know. Was she already 8 weeks along, I think? That's what she said.
Okay.
So I'm not sure a pill would have done anything.
I think it might. I think still first trimester.
Oh, yeah, pretty much. If the pill still works.
They're trying to outlaw it at 6 weeks, and if it already didn't work, you know, like if it didn't work 2 weeks later, I don't know if it, well, I don't know.
Well, that seems like a conversation for a woman and her doctor.
Yeah.
I'm just saying, I'm not sure if it does or not.
I don't know.
But something looked into.
But yeah, I'm going to say, but considering that like 90-something% of abortions are chemical, like,
yeah,
they never show the kind that actually happens.
Yeah, they never really give us anything to work with.
Right.
She doesn't go to the doctor to get any information or anything. She just kind of skips out of there.
Yeah, she just kind of runs.
She barrels out of the clinic as soon as she gets all fed up with all the noises and stuff that she hears in there. Mm-hmm. For some reason, it all makes her freak out.
I mean, she's having a panic attack.
Yeah, and it does happen probably because of a previous reference that the girl outside made about a girl who flipped out at the mall because she wasn't taking her medication, and they never really revisit that, but the girl picketing outside says to Juno, I heard that was you.
Yeah, and I think it was. So this girl likely has some sort of, like, major psychiatric disorder, like depression or, you know, whatever.
Which, again, it's another major consideration in this before you go ahead with a pregnancy.
Right.
Because that can have serious consequences on your mental well-being.
Yes, it can. Like, so, there's all kinds of things to talk about with a trained medical professional. And then when she leaves the clinic, like, all freaking out already, this protester who has, like, already won her argument, by the way, has to be like, God appreciates your miracle. And it's like, I'm sorry, which miracle is that? The one where she has an unplanned teenage unwanted pregnancy, or the miracle of you harassing her out of getting the abortion that she wanted?
Harassing the girl who very obviously has a history of mental health issues.
Right.
Who just ran out of the clinic.
Right.
Practically screaming. I don't think she was screaming, but she looked like she was about to.
I think she was crying.
Yeah. Obviously, she's not okay.
No.
And what you're really concerned about is the little miracle that just happened. Okay. Right. Well, girl, why don't you go fuck yourself?
Right. And then they bothered to show that there's protesters there, but they didn't have anybody escorting her. Like, when you have protesters, you tend to have those, volunteer escorts with, like, the vests that will walk you in.
You have to now because it's too dangerous anymore.
Yeah. So
it's a serious problem.
They didn't have any of that. So I'm not confident that the person who wrote this knows or cares to know anything about abortion clinics.
I don't think the person who wrote this did any research, because if she had done any research about this, she would have had the escort people for one. She might have even had a guard or two that were armed, because they have those too.
Yes, they do.
Because these people who protest these things tend to be very violent people sometimes.
Yes.
And they will very often attack the doctors. Mm-hmm. In addition, crisis pregnancy centers tend to open up right next door.
Yeah, to confuse you.
To try to trick you into coming into the crisis pregnancy center to talk with one of their professionals, where they try to feed you some food so you can't have your procedure.
Oh, yeah, they do that.
Yes, they do.
Can't go under anesthesia. Yep.
And, yeah, that probably would have been there, too. Mm-hmm. It's another thing that could have been explored that she just didn't.
Right. And if they live in, like, a small conservative town, which it kind of seems like they do,
then it probably would have been there, because they crop up all over the place.
Yeah, and there honestly probably would have been more of those than the actual clinic. If it was being as long as we're talking about if it had been realistic, she probably would have had to drive really far to get to it.
It probably would have been at least a 3-hour drive or something.
She would have, like, ridden her bike or, like, driven her parents' van or whatever she did just randomly down there. And
this is a small town.
Yeah.
This is a small town. She's not driving a van there. She's going to probably have to go to her parents and talk to them for a moment about it.
Yeah, be like, I'm going to be gone for 4 hours because I have to go 2 hours each way to get to this clinic. But there's, like, 5 crisis pregnancy centers in town. Like, that's how it would work.
And they never address it.
Right.
They never once do.
They do not.
It's just all too convenient that there's a woman's health clinic in town. She goes to it, and then she hauls ass out of there.
Yep.
Because the girl outside picketing somehow convinced her. And for being a smart girl, she seems awfully stupid in this regard.
Yeah, and then she goes on spreading that misinformation, like when she runs all the way to her friend's house, who's like, oh, I was supposed to pick you up at 4. She's like, I'm going to stay pregnant. It has fingernails. And then it's like when she's talking to her stepmom, she's like, did you know it has fingernails? Like, we get it. You think it has fingernails. It doesn't, but whatever.
If she was such a smart girl, don't you think that she would try to get to the bottom of whether or not this is really true?
You'd think. And also, why is that, like, the solitary factor of your fetus's humanness? Like, as long as it doesn't... Because there are diseases that give people no fingernails. Like, not to nitpick, but why is that such a marker of humanness for her? You can't do it if it's got fingernails.
I don't know what it is about her and fingernails. They don't really go into it. They just seem to think that that's the final straw for her.
Yeah, like, generally, though, it's a pro-life argument. Why y'all doing that?
She can't get over it.
Right? And she understands, like, how big it is. Because, like, at one point, she was like, yeah, it's probably, like, a little sea monkey. So, like, you get that it's basically not even there yet.
Yeah.
So, both things cannot be true at once. Like, it was too early to even determine the sex.
It was too early, yeah. It was too early to really do anything. Mm-hmm. They do get a chance to find out the sex later, but Juno absolutely declines because she doesn't want to know.
Yeah.
She won't even tell she doesn't know, so she can't tell the people that she's going to adopt it out to.
She could have told them, but I think she said that she wants it to be a surprise for them. Which, like, I don't plan to be a parent, but if I was going to be a parent, it's easier to buy stuff in this gendered world with, like, if you know what's going on. It's just easier. You can go neutral on purpose, or you can wind up with a bunch of stuff that might be wrong.
I would have been okay with Juno making her decision that she did if she would have had all the facts available to her to begin with. Mm-hmm. If she had all the facts given to her and she still decided to go the way she did, I would have been okay with that, I guess.
That would be her choice. Old enough to get pregnant, old enough to decide this, I guess.
I don't think it's really a good idea to make a movie where we're kind of glamorizing the whole teenage pregnancy thing, but
yeah.
I guess if she has the facts available to her and she makes that decision, okay, well, it's her choice.
That's her choice. It's not scientific or, good choice.
It's probably not the best choice for her well-being
But it's a choice. It's like smoking. It's a choice you're allowed to make.
Yeah, pretty much. But she never had all that information available. Instead, she decides to go ahead and adopt out to these rich people.
Yeah, the first couple that she meets, that she read their baby wanting ad in the paper.
The penny saver, no less.
Like, the only good thing I can say about this situation is that at least she didn't go through a church.
Thank God. We've actually went to a non-denominational church once. And we went by the bulletin board, and there were a whole bunch of papers and literature looking for babies to adopt and stuff.
Yeah, it's a whole racket. It's bad.
It was kind of gross to look at.
They don't give people the information on how to not get pregnant, and then when the people who don't want to be pregnant get pregnant, they're like, but you can do God's work with this. Which brings me to the second point that I don't like about the way that this pro-life movie is handled, is the way that they treat the adoption. Like, it's a universally just a good moral thing to do. Like, you can take this, turn that frown upside down for teen pregnancy. You can do something good with this. You can make this nice infertile couple happy in a way that no one else can. Like, putting their happiness is your burden, putting it on you. It's nobody. People who are pregnant are not insulting people who can't get pregnant. They're not related. People who don't want to be pregnant are not insulting people who can't get pregnant. That's your problem. Yeah.
People who can get pregnant have absolutely no obligation to people who can't get pregnant.
Right.
And if that offends you, I'm sorry, but that's just a basic human truth.
Nobody owes you their baby just because you happen to be making one and don't want it. You're not obligated to carry that pregnancy to term and deliver it just for somebody else.
Someone might be willing to give you one, but that doesn't mean they have to.
Yep.
That's just the way it is, brother.
Yep. So then it's like some of the dialogue in there was weird, where she's, they're like, oh, somebody else will look at this as just a, God's miracle of their life.
There was a lot of coded language in there, like Juno was saying to him that I'm giving you the gift of life and all that good stuff.
Juno tells that to Mark, the prospective adoptive dad.
And then the wife, I forget her name.
Vanessa.
She's played by Jennifer Garner. Vanessa. Yeah, Vanessa. She was saying a whole bunch of coded language, too, while Juno and her dad were talking to them on the couch in the living room with the lawyer there.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, okay. She's like, I think pregnancy's beautiful. And Juno's like, yeah, you're lucky you're the one not going through it. And then she just kind of looks down. Vanessa looks down sad because the implication is that she can't have kids. And then it's like, okay, so you're trying to make the 16-year-old girl, the one time she complains about being pregnant, be the asshole for complaining about being pregnant? What's that about?
I really hate how they're acting like this is a nice thing that Juno's doing.
Yeah.
And I guess on some level, it kind of is, but it also kind of isn't, because she's not making the most informed choice she possibly could be.
She's not.
And also, this really goes back to another thing we were talking about, where they're just completely ignoring all of the complications that could possibly happen to Juno, especially with her own history of apparently
severe mental illness and psychosis.
Yeah. And that's a serious issue.
Yeah, it is. Because postpartum depression is a real thing that a lot of women get. And, like, postpartum issues are not something that get talked about a lot. Like, only in the last few years have, like, really publicly women started talking about, like, postpartum depression and miscarriages and losing children and things like that. Like, before really, I don't even know. Like, I can't think of a public figure who was really talking about it before, like, Michelle Obama.
No, I'm not sure that there really has been all that many people.
Right, and, like, she only started talking about, like, I don't think that was while she was president. I think it was after, or while her husband was president, while she was first lady. I think it was after. So, like, it's fairly recent.
Yeah.
Like,
well, that's a good thing for her to do.
Yeah.
It's a good thing for people to talk about, put it out there in the open.
Yeah, and then all these other women are like, oh my God, I've had a bunch too. Like, I thought it was just me. You know? And it's like, first off...
Just think about how many women have had to clam up about that because they didn't think anyone else was experiencing it.
I don't know that I know any women in my family who haven't had at least one, honestly.
See?
Like, women who have kids in my family, I mean, maybe one or two. But, like, I definitely, off the top of my head, can think of more women in my family who have kids who have also had miscarriages than women who have kids and have never had a miscarriage.
Yeah.
It's like...
Well, it's because miscarriage is really common.
Yeah, it's like a fact. It's a fact of life.
Also, lucky Juno getting pregnant on the first try.
Right? I mean, that happens. And if he's coming inside her and she's not on birth control and they're not using a condom, it's actually super likely that she's going to get pregnant.
Yeah.
What surprised me was that Jennifer Garner's character was so sure that, like, they're not fertile as a couple and that, like... Well, I don't know. Why were they so insistent on getting a fresh baby out of, like, somebody else's oven? You know, like, I mean, I get that there's some messed up, you know, situations and that it can be hard to adopt and that, like, foster care kids can be more difficult. But, like, there's no guarantee that your kid's not going to be difficult. You don't know what kind of baby you're getting. Like, you could be getting fetal alcohol syndrome from Juno or her history of major psychiatric disorders.
Yeah.
Like, you could be getting anything.
There's all kinds of things that could be going on.
Right.
And another thing, like, if they do get the kid and they happen not to like it after it's born, is she just going to bail? Is that something that might happen? I don't know.
It might be. That happens. And then the kid usually ends up back in foster care. That happens sometimes, like, if the kid will come out with, like, some kind of disability that the parents decide that they're unprepared to deal with.
And why haven't these people gone into the foster system and had have a few kids or something? Have they even done that, you wonder?
I don't know.
They don't really go into it. And why don't they go into it? Because this seems like it's an important thing to discuss in a movie like this.
Yeah. And
especially when we're bringing up these plot points, you know?
Right. And I don't know why they didn't bring up, like, are there any things that would make either of you, you know, back out? Like, they bring up that the birth mom will sometimes back out and, like, once she sees her baby's face, she falls in love and can't part with it. But they never get into, like, the asshole adoptive parents who are like, this baby has Down syndrome. I don't want it anymore.
Because like, that happens sometimes. That
happens, right? That happens.
And they actually do get into that on the Showtime series.
Shameless?
Shameless, yeah.
Yeah, so, like, you know, there's ways to do it. There's ways to talk about that. And, like, what happens then? And they bothered to say that they had an adoption that fell through, like, before the movie started. So, like, there was their opportunity to talk about that kind of thing. Or the fact while the lawyer's sitting there with them could have, you know, would have been the perfect place to have the lawyer talk coldly about it. And then you could even have had them be, like, horrified, like, this is a human being we're talking about. But you didn't even try.
Oh, I have to imagine that they probably didn't want to bring that part up to Juno.
Mm-hmm.
If they had done that before.
Mm-hmm.
I would have liked it if it had been a plot point where she had discovered they had done that before.
Yeah.
And then she discovered that she happened to be have a Down syndrome kid inside that she was pregnant with. Mm-hmm. Or something like that.
Yeah. I mean, yeah, they even could have brought it up by having her, like, get genetic testing or something. Because once the baby is a certain amount along, you can, like, test for some things.
Yeah, it was something that my mom was actually tested for when she was pregnant with me. Mm-hmm. And they've had it for the longest time. You can find out that kind of stuff well ahead of time.
Yeah. I think my mom used to get that testing. And, like, somebody was gonna have something, but then she miscarried, and so never ended up being a sibling there.
Yeah.
But
it happens,
it happens. Yeah. And then there are like pro-life people who won't get it done because they're like, well, I'm not going to abort it anyway, so what difference does it make? And it's like, you can still prepare your house if you're going to have somebody with...
Yeah, it helps to be informed because then you can make some life decisions about how you're going to handle things.
Right?
You don't want to be caught with your pants down when you have the kid and go, oh, so I have to get all these things now?
Right.
Well, I could have been preparing myself this whole time.
Yeah, like nobody's saying you have to abort it, but like if you know ahead of time your kid's going to have like Down syndrome or cerebral palsy, you can like start acquiring some resources in your life that will be there when it's born so that, you know, your child has what it needs and like some accessibility in life.
I don't know.
I think it depends on what's going on. But like a cerebral palsy baby will probably need like a walker and some physical therapy.
Well, yeah,
and like a wheelchair.
That's a good point.
Once it hits like toddler years.
All right, so that's something you could prepare yourself for.
Right.
Maybe save up a little bit of money and stuff like that.
Yeah. You're at least going to start needing to looking up resources in your area because, like, sometimes you got to drive real far to get resources in certain areas.
Yeah. Maybe look up a few hospitals or stuff like that, children's hospitals and other resources you might need to have access to.
Physical therapists.
Start talking to people who do know stuff.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Find, like, a support group of other parents. Like with, you know, parents like with that disability or kids with the, you know,
yeah,
you can find a community of support.
Exactly.
And knowledge.
And that's the point here. You don't want to go into it blind. That's just foolish.
Right. Plus, like, if you're going to be the kind of person who is going to have, like, some strong feelings about your baby not coming out the way that you were expecting, it gives you time to process it before your kid is there.
Yeah.
Like, so that you're not projecting any of that onto this baby that you wanted and you brought into this world. Like, you don't need to be giving any negativity to it.
Absolutely. Ooh, that kind of gives me a shiver down my spine thinking about people who do that.
Yeah, it happens.
Yeah, I know.
And then they put it up for adoption.
And then you read all these horror stories online about parents who are projecting their feelings onto the kids and stuff, even though the kids have absolutely no power over the way they are.
Yep.
And it just makes you feel gross to read about it.
Mm-hmm.
Like thinking, what kind of people are these that they're doing this to this kid?
Yeah, sick people that shouldn't have kids, people that really should have gone for that abortion.
Yeah, sometimes.
Right.
Sometimes.
Right. But yeah. So I really don't like the way that they handled the adoption stuff. And then, like, right down to, like, Jennifer Garner's character was actually really cute. I liked how she played her. And, like, there's this one part where she kind of leans in quietly and asks Juno, like, are you, because, you know, she's like, of course, we'd pay all of your medical bills. And if you need anything while you're pregnant, like, do you need any extra compensation? Like, she's obviously offering to pay for this baby. It's, like, basically human trafficking. And Juno looks at her like, no, you know, like, I'm just doing this to be charitable sort of thing. Like, I just don't want it. You want it. It's like a taco.
In this sort of situation, I suppose that Juno would effectively be a surrogate.
Exactly, yeah.
So it's not uncommon to pay the surrogate for their quote-unquote services.
Right? Yeah, definitely. Like, that's a year of your life that you're, you know...
So...
like eating differently and working differently, and
Vanessa here, I guess, actually got a pretty good deal, all things considered.
Oh yeah, Vanessa should feel a little bit ashamed of taking advantage of this child, because that's essentially what she's doing. Like, this girl is making a very uninformed choice, and she's carrying a baby to term because she thinks she's doing something good for you.
I'm actually surprised how little Juno's father butt into this situation. I'm not saying that he has to make all of her decisions for her or anything like that, but
he should let her know that she's being, you know,
he should have
short-sighted. Like, don't you want to go to college? You're probably not going to get great grades this year because your year's going to be interrupted. Maybe
she might get held back.
Yeah, put a couple $1,000s away for, like, when you graduate.
Yeah. He should have butt in at that point and had just a side chat with her about what she was doing.
Right, instead of just being like, here's my irresponsible daughter.
He actually does introduce her as his irresponsible daughter.
Yeah.
And he knowing that she is a little bit irresponsible and that she is 16 years old and he looks like he's about, I don't know, 50.
Yep.
He should probably just have a chat with her about maybe you want to get a little bit of money in the bank while you're doing this. Because you got to prepare for your future.
Yeah, right? Plus, then you'd have a little money to get an abortion if it ever happens to you again.
That too. Hopefully we don't cross that bridge, but what we really want to do is prepare for just college and stuff.
Yeah, and like he's definitely an advice-giving parent, because at the end of the movie, when she's like at the hospital giving birth, he's like comforting her, but his way of comforting her is saying, "Don't worry, honey, one day you're going to be back here doing this on your own terms."
That really took me aback, because I'm just sitting there with my mouth agape looking at that part going, that's what she's been doing the whole movie.
Right.
She's always been doing it on her own terms.
Right.
She's been doing it nothing but her own terms.
Yep. She had this baby on purpose. She picked the couple. She hung out with them like this, and she chose to decline compensation. Like this is, and she chose the adoption to be closed when the parents were open to whatever.
This was 100% her own bed.
Mm-hmm. Yep. Oh, that's another thing that bugged me about the adoption thing. Like they looked so much more into adoption. The writers looked so much more into adoption than abortion clinics, because they bothered to talk about closed versus open adoptions.
Oh, I know.
But
they depicted it so much more clearly than they did the women's clinic. It was kind of gross.
Right. Like private adoption, done in the house, private lawyer, let's draw paperwork.
Something about this was just giving me the skeeziest vibes while it was happening.
Basically an adoption ad.
I was watching the scene going, this doesn't feel right.
Right.
It's one of those things where you're having a hard time really putting your finger on it. Mm-hmm. Because there's a lot of things left unsaid.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. My third problem with this movie, third and final main problem, is the way that they showed Juno's relationship with her parents. Because her parents were overall, a couple of slips here and there, especially with the dad, but like overall, her dad and her stepmom, because Allison Janney technically is playing her stepmom, because Juno mentions her mom running off when she's little and like never coming back.
I mean, sends her a cactus every year.
That's what it is, sends her a cactus.
Thanks, Mom.
Right? But they're very supportive. They really like took it on the chin when she told him. They're just kind of like, okay. And like the first thing that the stepmom said was something like, well, okay, first things first. Like we got to get you a doctor appointment. You need some prenatal vitamins. Like she really took it in stride.
They took this so much better than any parent ever in history. Dad's just sitting there listening, his eyes wide open, not flipping out at all, not tearing the chair apart, not breaking anything, just sitting there listening.
Yep. And I think they even offered to pay for her medical expenses to have the baby, didn't they?
Pretty sure they did.
And then like later on, after she's like, oh, I'm going to adopt it out to a couple, and they were the ones that were going to pay the expenses. But originally, I think her parents offered to. And Juno's like, no, I don't need anything from you. And it's like, bitch, yes, you do.
You absolutely need stuff. You're 16.
You're driving their van. You need, Jesus, you need everything from them.
The people you want to give this baby to live an hour away.
Right?
You need all the help you can get.
Yup. Yeah. So just, her parents are like so nice and supportive to her, and she's just so cold and like mean to them.
She treats them kind of like crap, especially the stepmom.
Yeah, especially Allison Janney's character.
And she does not deserve it at all. This woman is just practically a saint.
Right? Yeah. She even calms the father down a bit when, and they did make a comment about like, oh man, we thought it was going to be drugs or DUI. Now like a pregnancy, the worst thing ever. But she's just like, oh, it'll be okay. Somebody else will find a miracle in like our trash heap of a problem sort of thing.
And then the dad says he was going to punch Paulie in the dick next time he sees him.
Oh yeah. There was a funny line there about like, where she was like, oh, honey, it wasn't his idea.
And then her dad just shrugs it off and says, yeah, I know.
Yep. Kid's a dweeb.
Holy bleeker. I didn't think he had it in him.
Yeah. I'll grant these people, they did cast kids who look like kids.
Oh, God. Paulie Bleeker did look like a dweeb, too, but that's just Michael Cera.
Yeah, Michael Cera was a huge dweeb. Is a huge dweeb.
He's such a dweeb. He looks like the biggest dweeb who ever dweebed.
Mm-hmm. He's making money on it, though.
Dweebus Maximus.
Yup.
Oh, boy.
Oh, yeah. So those are my 3 main problems. With a second.
And those are pretty big problems.
Yeah. And then, like, my medium problem with this movie, and really maybe it should be one of my bigger problems, but it probably annoys me 4th most, is the whole pedophilia thing in this movie. That they try and make, like, a tiny subplot that never gets addressed.
And it never really gets resolved either.
Right? There's no consequences for the pedophile. Like,
the weird thing here is that Juno somehow bonds with the husband in the relationship here. I forget what his name was. Mark, Vanessa's husband, played by Jason Bateman. Mm-hmm. Juno connects with him on some level.
They both like music.
Yeah, they both like
a band.
Oh, they both like playing guitar, and they both like old music, and they both like horror movies, like everybody else practically.
Yep.
Lots of people enjoy that crap. Doesn't mean you're gonna bond or anything.
Right.
Also, she's 16 and he's like 40.
Yeah.
Dude, come on.
It's not right. And it's like, is she the first 16-year-old to have a crush on an older man? Absolutely not. Won't be the last. But the onus isn't on her. She's the child. He's the grown man who's hanging out with this girl at his house. They're like watching movies. He's feeding her. They're slow dancing. They're playing music together. He's burning her mixed tapes.
Yeah, come on. All the signs are there. It's weird.
Right.
It's so weird.
It is weird. And I think they even casually mentioned that, like, her friend, the cheerleader, has a thing for teachers. So they just try and make it, like, normal in this, like, movie. That every girl in this town is just precocious and likes older men.
Oh, I hate the precocious thing so much.
Right? Which, like, again, the onus is on the adult to not pursue a relationship with a child.
Very strong, I'm mature for my age vibes.
Right.
And it's just a big barrel of, no, you're not.
You're not.
You say you are, and you might think you are, but by God, you are not.
You're not. I promise you're not.
I guarantee it.
Right? And so it's like you're saying, they're bonding over like this and that. And she sees him a few times. And it's like the first time she was going to their house to show them the ultrasound and Vanessa just wasn't there.
Yeah.
And then after that, she's like, oh, Mark's kind of cool. And she would go back to hang out with him alone. And I think the second or maybe the third time, but I think the second time she goes to see them, she like knocks and he answers the door and she's like, oh, is Vanessa here? And he's like, nope, we're safe. And it's like, what the fuck do you mean you're safe?
The first time was when they went over to just arrange the adoption to begin with.
Yeah.
Because it was when she went upstairs to use the bathroom that she encountered Mark coming out, and they went into his little closet that I guess he's allowed to have or something, where all his stuff is.
Yeah.
His guitars, his music, and all that good stuff. They go in there because she's fascinated by his Gibson Les Paul. Mm-hmm. And mind you, by the way, Juno's not a big girl. She's very small. She's very petite. Mm-hmm. She's maybe like 5'1" on a good day.
Yeah.
And a Gibson Les Paul is about 10 pounds.
Yeah, that's too heavy.
A 5'1" girl probably isn't going to be picking up Les Pauls unless she's got a very sturdy back.
Right.
Because that's roughly 1/10 her body weight usually.
Yep.
Just little side bit of information here. Probably not going to be in the Les Pauls because, damn, those things are heavy. I'm like 220 pounds, and a Les Paul is too heavy for me.
Uh-huh.
That's too much.
They're too heavy for me.
But anyway, they go in there, and they're talking about music and stuff, and then they start playing music. And this is while they got a lawyer on the clock downstairs.
Oh, yeah. And then Vanessa comes upstairs, and she's like, could we maybe do that later?
And this is the one of the times I'm on Vanessa's side here, because they do have a lawyer on the clock downstairs. Maybe we should take care of this because she charges a couple $100 an hour.
Right, yeah, and they're trying to make it like she's some kind of stick in the mud, and it's like, no, this is a business transaction.
This is a business transaction. Also, this lawyer is expensive. Come on,
right?
Mark.
Right, you want a closed adoption. That means we're not going to be friends.
That means we're going to just be very civil to each other until this is over.
Yep, and then we're both going to go our very separate ways.
And I don't know why Juno is going over to their house in the first place to begin with.
Because she's got a crush on him.
Well, yeah, that much is clear.
She definitely has a crush on him, and like that's fine. But he doesn't need to have a crush back on her.
He doesn't need to encourage it.
Illegal, yeah. Like set some boundaries, dude.
He almost starts to in that one scene because he asks, "Why are you here?"
Yeah, but I think that's more him trying to excuse it being his fault.
Yeah, I guess that's true too.
She wanted it. She came on to me.
But he does kind of get it going a little bit more than he probably should.
Yeah.
Than he definitely should.
Yep.
And then it finally escalates to the point where, well, it's affecting him and Vanessa's relationship.
Yeah.
And I don't know whether he thinks he's going to leave his wife and be with Juno or what.
That is exactly what he thinks. That's why he tells her. Was when she goes over one of those times and he'd like, because they're slow dancing, which is super creepy. She's like resting her head on his chest. He's like smelling her hair. And then he's like, I'm going to leave Vanessa.
Like he's very proud of what he just admitted, as though Juno is going to react positively to what she just heard.
Yes. And like the implication, I think, is I'm going to leave Vanessa to be with you.
And also, she's 16 and you're like 40, dude.
She's 16, right. 16, she's pregnant, you're married, like she's adopting her baby to you, and then you drop that bomb on her like it's... And he doesn't say anything about the baby. He's like slow dancing with her like, oh, I think there's something between us. And it's like he's joking like he means her baby, but he definitely means feelings.
Yes, he does. Right? And that is...
And in his little thing about like, oh, we can be together, like he doesn't mention the baby. Like, are you just planning to leave Vanessa with the baby and go be with your surrogate?
That is
16-year-old surrogate?
What is the plan here? Is that the plan?
It is so fucked.
It's a bad plan.
Right?
It's not a good plan, Mark.
Right? And then Juno never has any introspection about this whole situation. She's never like, oh, this is bad. I mean, she's like, oh, you can't leave her. Or, you can't leave her. You know, you're going to get the baby, and this baby was supposed to get a family that's not fucked up. Like, the implication is that divorced people are all too fucked up to raise a baby competently.
What does she think happens in real life?
Right? Like, damn, girl, I get that your mom left you, but shut up.
Does she not think that people ever get divorced or something? What kind of life has she been living to this point?
Right? Yeah, It's not good. It's not a good look. It's not a good message. It's insulting to divorced people and the children of divorced people.
I remember what it was like to be 16. I don't remember being this stupid.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, you probably weren't this stupid. You probably also met some nice divorced people.
Oh, yeah. I knew divorced people all over the place. Like, pretty much every friend I had, at least half of them, their parents were divorced.
Yep.
At least, man.
Yeah.
Because it's so common. It's really just not a big deal anymore. Well, it is a big deal, but it also isn't a big deal.
Yeah. It's
something that just happens to a lot of people. And you don't really think less of people for it because it's so common.
Yeah. It's not like your baby's going to grow up fucked up because you got divorced.
No, that's silly.
Like, it's not a reason to, if you already trusted this couple enough to give them your child forever, like, them getting divorced should not shake your faith in that. This guy hitting on you should.
Obviously, it's easy. The divorces are a lot easier when the parents are, like, amicable.
Yes.
Rather than contemptuous.
Yes, for sure. Yeah. Ugly divorces are
tough for everybody.
Yeah. Yeah. But it's, it's still not necessarily going to make your kid turn out like awful.
No, it's not.
But and I still got more things to complain about him for this. Like, he's doing this and she's freaking out, right? And she goes to leave and Vanessa walks in the door and she looks at Mark because she sees Juno's crying and she's like, what did you do? And like, again, the implication is that he's done something like this before.
And we have to wonder here, did he do this to the other girl that they had before this?
Right? Like, is that why the adoption fell through? Is it not because the mom looked into the baby's eyes? Is it because the dad looked into the mom's eyes? Like, what's going on here?
Is it because Mark fooled around with her?
It might be. It might be.
Oh, dear God.
Right? Like, this guy is a philanderer and also a pedophile.
How is he not in jail? I wonder. Well, I don't know, man.
Because most of them don't go to jail.
Yeah, I guess that's true.
There's that.
Yeah, that's true. Boy, oh boy.
Yeah.
So, that happened, and I was almost... It's kind of a tough situation because on one hand, I'm on Mark's side for admitting that he's not ready to be a father yet.
Yeah.
Okay, that's fine. That's okay.
Yeah.
If
Probably should have said something before he's going to sign adoption papers.
obviously, he probably just has a hard time saying no to Vanessa.
Yeah, but better to say something before you have the baby.
Absolutely.
They have a terrible return policy.
Yes, they do. So, better now than never, Mark.
Right?
On the other hand, you just hit on a 16-year-old and you're like 40, man.
Right.
What are you doing?
Right? You're allowed to not want kids, but do you have to be a criminal too? Like a sexual criminal? You're not making the rest of us, people who don't want to be parents, look very good.
Oh, for God's sake, Mark.
Right? So there's that. And then here's might be the worst part about it. Not the worst part, but another real bad part about it is that now you've taken what could, again, should have been a plot about the difficulty of a 16-year-old either trying to get an abortion or carry a baby full term, and just physically what that does to you, and mentally what that does to you, and socially what that does to you. And you've made the crux of this, do I still give my baby up to a divorced woman?
Oh, for God's sake.
Why? That's not an emotional thing. And so, but they make it this whole, the climax is she goes back to write this note for Vanessa that says, I'm still in if you're still in.
She has this moral turmoil.
Yes.
Moral dilemma about whether she's going to let Vanessa have this baby.
Right. Because she's always wanted to be a mommy. And it's what the fuck? Is it, she obviously wants to be a mother. She's, And
the writer wonders why people think that this is a crazy propaganda movie?
Yep.
Are you kidding me?
Yep. So, yeah, I don't like that. And it's Vanessa, when she has this baby later, she frames it on her wall. This is how I got you. When my cheating pedophile husband tried to hit on our surrogate. And she gave me the baby anyway.
Yeah, have fun telling that story the rest of your life. That's going to be just downright adorable.
It was a little fucky.
It absolutely was. So. I was just surprised at how terrible Juno was as a person.
Yeah. Yeah, she was focused on all the wrong things.
Oh. She was everything that's wrong with, how do I phrase this? Just like a hipster, man.
Yeah. Yeah.
She's a little bit racist here and there. She's a little bit judgmental about divorced people.
She said terrible things about Chinese people.
She wants to go for
oh yeah, and her mom cuts.
She treats her stepmom like crap.
Yeah, her stepmom takes her jeans and alters them so that they've got the pregnancy belly band on them, which is not easy to do. And she, takes time to do that, and she's still just not very nice to her. They go to the hospital with her. Then they go to the hospital and the stepmom at one point she berates the ultrasound technician when Juno's getting her ultrasound because the lady looks visibly relieved when Juno says she's giving it up for adoption. But her argument is you don't know who these adoptive parents could be. They could be sick people. They could be child molesters too. They could do twice as bad of a job as raising them as my daughter. You don't know. And then the other time, what was the other time? Oh, yeah, when they're at the hospital and she's berating people trying to get Juno her epidural.
Yeah, her stepmom is really a saint in this movie. She takes so much abuse from Juno, who keeps puking and dumping her blue weird slushies
in her urn.
Yeah, the vase she has over by the door, she keeps pouring crap in there for no reason.
Yep. She's just mean to her.
This woman gives her more support than she probably deserves.
Yep.
And she keeps treating her like a doormat.
Yep.
For God's sakes, this is practically your mom.
Yeah.
This is your mom now.
Yeah.
Because your mom isn't here.
Your mom, I think she said, left when she was, what, like 5?
Yeah, she left when she was about 5. Now she's got 3 other kids over in Arizona or something.
Yeah.
And all she does is send the kid a cactus every year. She never sees her. So this is effectively your mom now, and you treat her like just trash.
Yeah. Yeah. Really, you should be calling her mom. She's your mom. Respect her.
And
respect your parents.
God forbid she wants a dog.
Right. Yep. Oh, she does get her puppy in the end. That's the only good thing about this movie.
That's the happiest ending about this, is that the mom finally gets a dog.
Yep.
Thank you.
Mm-hmm.
That's the only good part.
It really was.
Otherwise, this movie sucked.
It did.
It was so painful to get through. I don't remember it being this bad.
Right?
It was so much worse than I remember it being.
Yep.
Maybe that's how much propaganda we were fed when we were younger.
I think so, yeah. Plus, everybody was like really at the beginning of the hipster thing. And so it's like you kind of feel pressured when everybody else is like, oh, it's so good. You don't want to go against the stream. And everybody's like, this is hipster. I relate. It's so good.
And now everyone realizes that hipsters are assholes now.
Hipsters are the worst. Yep.
And now we can look at this with an objective eye and say, wow, this sucks.
This is really bad. Now we can articulate why it's really bad.
I'm not sure I have any other grievances with this film because I feel like we've laid it all out there. This movie is just pure propaganda. It doesn't answer any questions that it needs to. It really has no reason to exist other than as a propaganda film that it is. Mm-hmm.
That's fair. Yeah.
I really can't fault the actors for being in this movie.
No,
because
it's not their fault.
Actors gotta work, you know? Mm-hmm. They gotta get jobs. They gotta get a job every so often, just like the rest of us. Mm-hmm. And for a lot of actors, it's really hard to get a job. Mm-hmm. So if they take a role in a movie when it's offered to them, I can't say I hold it against them all that much because this is a big budget Hollywood movie.
Right.
So do they want to be in it? Yeah, I want to be in it. This is going to get a big release. I'm going to get seen.
Yep.
So, yeah, they're going to be in it.
Yep.
So am I going to fault Ellen Page? No, I'm not going to fault her for being in it. I'm going to fault her for her crappy acting.
Yeah, she's like a pregnant wooden board.
Oh, she is.
I'm a planet. A planet has more feeling.
She's not very emotional for being in the state she's in. We'll put it that way.
Yeah.
Person in her situation would be so much more emotional, and she would display a much greater range throughout the seasons,
right?
Like this movie depicts, than what we got to see.
Yeah, you see her like crying in the van once. You see her a little bit angry at her boyfriend Bleecker because she like broke up with him, and then he's going with somebody else to prom.
She wouldn't be taking everything in stride like she seems to.
Yeah. She's just kind of upset. Like, you said you thought her house smelled like soup. Why are you still going? And, like, that's supposed to be one of the funny lines is, like, her house smells like soup. I don't like it. Like,
there were so many points in this movie where I was looking at her interaction with Polly and just thinking to myself, poor Polly.
Right.
God.
Polly could find somebody else.
Polly is really just kind of there.
Yeah.
He doesn't really do much besides provide the catalyst for the movie.
Right.
And then every interaction she has with him is kind of awful.
Yeah, they're just, I don't understand them.
Like, she gets mad at him for his response at the beginning where he tells her that she should do what she thinks is the right thing to do, which is a good response.
Yeah, it's a good supportive response. Like, wow, it's your body. What do you think we should do about this?
And she doesn't seem to like that he doesn't have an opinion about it.
Yeah, well, I think specifically she did not like that he was okay with her getting an abortion. Like, did you really want him to have a problem with, like, my body, my choice?
You really want him to have a problem with that?
Right? It's like it's
that's
like
so weird.
Yeah, it's like they wanted her to, or like they wanted to give you the impression that she's trying to hold back, like, but it's our baby. Don't you care about me? Don't you care about our baby? What baby? It's a fetus.
And then she gets all mad at him later about taking another girl to the prom, even though they're not together.
Yeah, they're not
together. What's he supposed to do? Why is she getting mad at him?
Right.
And then he goes off on her in his very calm fashion, like Michael Cera is wont to do, and tells her, if anything, I should be mad at you right now because you're hot and you're cold and we're on, we're off.
Right.
I don't know what to do.
Yep.
And he's not wrong.
Nope. Nope, he's not.
So God forbid he goes with someone else. And she's just tearing into him about this girl who has a little bit of Bell's palsy on her face. Mm-hmm. And you kind of get the vibe that she's pretty ableist at that point, too, because of this girl.
Yep. Yeah, this movie's definitely got an ableist vibe to it.
It's got so many isms about it. It's lousy with them. Mm-hmm. And they're all like real low-key isms, but they're definitely there.
Yeah, they're there.
I don't know if they're necessarily low key. You just have to watch this movie and not be completely ignorant about it, and then you pick on them. You pick up on them pretty quickly.
Yep.
Oh, there's a little bit of casual racism right there. That's awesome. Oh, yeah, a little bit of ableism right over there. Ooh, there's some classism. Nice. That was
Yep.
man, that one was particularly stinky.
Yep. Yeah, it's just bad. It's bad. And then at the end when they're like playing, okay, so there's like one of the ways that they kind of time like things in the movie. It's like he was saying they changed the seasons, and then also it's like you can tell a day has passed because the kids will be outside running again because Bleeker's on the track team. They're always wearing the same thing. They're always running in a group. And then it's like at the end they're playing guitar together, and then the track team runs past them. And normally Bleeker's running with them because he's on the track team. So it's like, did he quit track to be with her?
God, I hope not.
Like,
she's not worth it.
What's that about? Why does he, like y'all are in high school. It's okay to have extracurriculars, especially if either of you ever wants to get out of that small ass town.
Dear sweet Jesus, he should go out with someone else. Preferably somebody who's not crazy and pro-life.
Right? And also she needs some therapy because she got groomed by a pedophile.
Ooh, yeah, that's... I don't even know what to do, man.
Right.
She's got to talk to somebody like pronto. Right. Her dad should probably know about that.
Probably.
If her dad should punch anybody in the dick, it should be Mark.
Right. Like Vanessa, that might be her one flaw, is that she does not go tell those parents, as far as we know. She doesn't go tell Juno's parents that her husband was hitting on their daughter.
And... the stepmom actually does warn Juno not to go over there.
Oh, yeah, she knows because she's smart. She's not a dummy. She's not her first time around the block. She knows how men are.
You can't go over to that person's house.
Right? Like he's, and she's like, oh, but he's married. Like, we can be friends. There's nothing like that. And it's like, oh, not really.
Oh, but he's married. Like, that's an excuse.
Yep.
Like that has stopped anybody throughout time.
Yes, the penis is famously known for stopping when marriage is involved. Nobody ever cheats, ever. Everybody makes moral decisions as long as there's marriage involved.
She is so naive.
Also, her go-to was, but he's married and not, but I'm a kid.
Right? Good Lord. Why did she go straight to he's married and not to I'm 16 and he's 40?
Right? Like, she was basically giving her like a low-key, you're not my mom, you can't give me advice, you don't know. And it's like, yes, she does, and yes, she is.
I don't like the character Juno. I don't really like Ellen Page as an actress, to be honest.
Yeah,
I don't really have
flat.
I don't have a problem with her personally. I just think her acting is lousy. Mm-hmm.
She's like Aubrey Plaza.
Yeah. And
There's the same thing wrong with both of their acting.
I really don't like Aubrey Plaza either. I think both of them are quite wooden.
You've seen one thing in that they're in, you've seen all of them.
And I don't really think that any of them have anything to offer. Mm-hmm. The only thing I liked Ellen Page even remotely in was maybe The Umbrella Academy that came out pretty recently, like last year.
Yeah, that's fair.
She was okay in that, but that's also because she had a lot of people supporting her, and she wasn't the lead.
Ellen Page is not a lead.
No, she's just a supporting actress at best. Mm-hmm. And that's probably why she hasn't done a hell of a lot the past years, ever since either Juno or Whip It.
Right. Oh, Whip It was good, too.
Or even Inception. She was in Inception, too. I forgot about that.
Oh, she's so forgettable. I forgot she was in Inception. Oh, my God. You remember Leonardo DiCaprio's in Inception? Ellen Page? Fucking where? Who was she in that?
She was the person that Leonardo DiCaprio's character was working with because she was
oh my God, I really don't remember that.
Jesus Christ. You don't remember her at all from the movie?
That's how forgettable Ellen Page was in that.
Wow. She was...
I just literally forgot that was Ellen Page.
She was a kind of a big character in that movie.
Not in my head.
Yeah, okay. Well, she was also surrounded by a lot of people who were carrying her. Mm-hmm. And every other actor in this movie, I think, is okay.
Yeah.
Although I'm ambivalent about Jason Bateman, personally.
See, I think he played a good creep, but then it's like some of the things he said last year or the year before, you kind of get the impression that it's because he's kind of a creep.
Yeah. You mean the stuff he said about Jessica Walter?
The aggressively misogynistic stuff?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think he apologized profusely for it, but still, he said it.
Yeah.
Which isn't awesome, but I guess at least he apologized.
At least he apologized.
I don't know. I'm ambivalent about him.
Yeah.
Everybody else, I think, is pretty okay as actors.
And in this role, he could have been method acting.
Yeah, method acting. Boy, that's a double-edged sword right there, baby.
Yep.
You go a little crazy when you do method acting.
Yeah. Well.
Yeah, I think that's about all we got to say for this movie. What did you...
I think we've hang it, let it die, and beat its corpse.
We definitely did. Let's jump straight into the reviews that we've culled from Amazon.com. And I think we found some delightful ones today. We've got 5-star reviews first. I'm going to let Astrid read the 5-star reviews this time because
I'm in charge.
Yeah, she's in charge of this particular podcast, I believe. And
I picked this movie, and I'm sorry.
Yeah, she picked it. I thought to myself, Juno, really? Is that a bad movie? And then we watched it, and I said, yes, this was horrible.
Right? It's so much worse than you remember.
Ooh, I did not expect it to be as bad as it was.
I remember it offended me when I saw it, but at the time I couldn't articulate why.
I
have aired all of my grievances.
I really cannot believe this movie has so many positive reviews. It sucked so hard.
Yeah, it did. All right.
Let's see what people thought of it on Amazon.
So, this first 5-star review comes from Phoebe. Big belly girl finds love in strange little man. What's poppin'? This is from Devlin Egg, Eve, and Foodle. And we believe this film is the tippity top, you know? Have you ever seen The Shining? It's kind of like that, but with pregnant people and a Michael Cera plot twist. Thank you for your attention. Play me out, Steve. Finger guns.
Pew pew.
What the fuck? It's kind of like The Shining, but like pregnant people.
I don't even know. What kind of review was that?
What the fuck?
That was glorious.
Oh my god, it was barely comprehensible, Phoebe. Thanks for nothing.
That was a review. That happened.
Technically a review.
Good gravy.
The second review comes from Mike D. Juno, just like the capital of Alaska, LOL. Genius, pure genius. Janine Garofalo's performance as Juno McGuffendorfer will resonate with fans for many a year. No, it's Morgan Freeman. Got any bones that need collecting? Brilliant. Even Oscar-worthy. It did win for Best Screenplay, come to think of it. Diablo Cody's screenplay snap, crackles, and pops with vibrant, colorful, euphoric Uba slang, such as Wizard, What the Blog, and Homo Skillet, My Darling Jim, Did It, Who Done It, Papa Squatch Summit. What? My fave scenes when our prego hero is somehow eating lunch in an open trophy case with her friend and there's a big fat Ramon sticker behind her. How'd they get it in there? And more importantly, how'd the sticker get in there? Director, right before Juno scene is to be shot. Okay, make sure we got plenty of random punk stickers in the background. Crew suggestion, how about Green Day or Blink-182? Director, no, real punk, not that MTV crap. Rock on, Juno.
I did not see the Ramon sticker. I wonder if that's actually there.
I don't know. You want to read the third one?
Sure, I'll read the last one for today. Our last 5-star review comes from Alan, who says, "Where's the cool police?" And he says, "This is one interesting ride through coolism. Juno, the main character of the movie, shows she has the maturity of a 40-year-old, yet is quirky and pretentious enough to be a teenager. The movie is also chocked full of edgy, too cool for school adult situations. Adultery, abortion, divorce, it's all there. I can't believe the cool police let me watch the entire movie. This movie is too cool for most people. Probably you too.
What? What? Where do you find these?
Oh, boy, these people are awesome.
Oh, dear God.
And now let's go to our dissenting opinions. The 1-star reviews for the movie Juno, everybody. Cold from Amazon.com.
Yes. This first one is by X Scott. 1 out of 5 stars. A decent movie about a rotten little twit. Good music, good actors, even some good snotty remarks. 1 star to counter all the people who weren't really paying attention. Juno stomps through this movie like some alternate Disney princess. She does whatever she wants, says whatever she wants, and no one really stands in her way. Her stepmother offers the only resistance, however limply. Juno's a rotten little twit. What I really didn't like was the ominous feeling that the film was going to try to turn around and give her a sympathetic makeover. Sure enough, after spending most of the film being rude to everyone and getting her way, she can't handle it when one of the other characters finally peels himself off the background and does something she doesn't like. Now she's fragile and emotional. Doesn't stop her from continuing being rude, though. The only sweet moments are when Juno's mouth is shut and the soundtrack comes to the front. It felt really manipulative having such upbeat music in a movie about such a jerk. The mailbox full of Tic Tacs was pure insulting treacle. She treats Michael Cera's character like a cure for boredom, essentially how she got pregnant, then as an insignificant nuisance up until she wants him back. That's where the Tic Tac comes in. Aw, she really does love him and he goes for it. Tic Tacs. If any candy fits him, it's a sucker.
Oh,
What the fuck?
that was a burn.
The biggest insult came at the end, in the hospital after she's given birth. The dad says to her, someday you'll be back here again, but on your terms. Sorry, whose terms were the previous 90 or so minutes devoted to? It might have been the right tender moment dialogue, but it totally ignores the facts.
Valid point.
Yeah, that last bit is reasonable, but, damn, that was really aggressively mean about Juno. Like, I didn't like Juno, but holy shit. This guy might have a body in his basement.
Jesus Christ.
Like, there was so much rage.
Oh, man.
We get it. You hate women.
Some of these reviews are a little out there. Just.
Yep.
Well, that's how it goes when you go looking.
Yep.
Sometimes you dig up some gold.
No. This one is from Princess Julie Rose, 1 out of 5 stars. Don't let teens watch this movie. I don't think teenagers should watch this movie because the girl tricks her boyfriend into having sex with her, and then an unplanned pregnancy happens. So I think the movie is saying that it's okay for a teenage girl to trick her boyfriend and get pregnant, and it's not.
Is that really what you think this movie's saying?
So if you're a parent of teen trying to teach them not to get pregnant, or you're a teen, stay away from this movie.
Well, I can do that. I can definitely do that much.
Stay away from this movie. It's good advice, but for the wrong reason.
She's reaching the right conclusion with the wrong premises.
Yes. So, half a point?
Sure, why not? 1 star is what I'll say.
Yes.
And now for our last 1-star review for today, we have a review from Dante who says, I should have brought a book to the theater. I don't feel completely comfortable being on the same planet with a race of beings that can actually generate this high of an average rating for such an empty waste of time.
Oh my God.
This is the most boring thing I've seen in a long, long time. I only chose it for 3 reasons. 1, it had Ellen Page. 2, J.K. Simmons. And 3, had a high IMDb rating of 8.4 at the time of this writing.
Damn.
A story about a teen getting pregnant and how she deals with it. Can't you do something with that premise?
Yes.
It's like the creators were more concerned with showing off their cool modern dialogue they wrote for the movie than the actual story itself.
Mm-hmm.
I was amazed at how many scenes could go by and how much talking could be done by the characters without anything interesting ever developing in the movie.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, you literally have these scenes that go on for minutes, and it's showing all these inconsequential things that don't develop character or introduce the next beat to the story.
Mm-hmm.
I remember watching every scene and feeling like there was something that was about to happen. A lot of potential energy, but it goes nowhere. There were moments that were interesting to watch, like between Ellen Page and the lady's husband, which were well acted and genuine. But again, it's like the focus of these scenes are to show just how, quote unquote, cool these characters are. Mm-hmm. And it's at the expense of substance and realism.
Ooh.
My 4 cents. There's nothing worse than a movie that's supposed to be a comedy, but not funny at all.
Ooh.
Cool. Ellen Page plays the same character she played in Hard Candy. Even had the red hoodie.
Yep.
That's where the comparisons stop between the two movies.
Yep.
Jennifer Garner's facial reactions failed.
Oh, I disagree.
That was stupid and overdone. You got the camera showing her confused reactions and expressions to what Ellen Page was saying or doing, with this feeling that we as the audience are in the know of some joke, and her character is left out and doesn't get it. So we are laughing along with Ellen Page's character, except there's no joke. There's nothing. So basically, all you've got is this airheaded looking woman overacting and doing exaggerated contortions to her face, and it's just embarrassing and awkward.
Oh, damn. Thought Jennifer Garner was a bright spot in this shit heap.
Well, obviously, Ellen disagreed.
I guess. It's always one person who's just blatantly insulting one of the actors.
Well, I don't know. I don't know about that one. I thought Jennifer Garner did an okay job with what she was doing.
Jennifer Garner and Allison Janney were delights.
I can't say I liked the character that Jennifer Garner was playing, but I thought she played her well enough.
I think she was my favorite character, honestly.
Yeah, she was okay.
Her or the stepmom were two strong characters. Everybody else sucked ass.
I can't say that this movie really made me feel thrilled about any single character who was in it.
Mm-hmm. That's fair.
But I do like the stepmom, and Jennifer Garner's character didn't really rub me the right way, but it was played okay. Mm-hmm. Everybody else, eh. And next, Alan says, the only pop culture reference that was missing out of this movie was the word eBay. Other than that, they covered it all. I should have just used the $10 I spent on this worthless movie and just made a paper airplane out of it and tossed it right into the toilet. What a piece of crap.
Jesus. Well.
Amazon reviews, everybody. Oh, well, what would you say you learned from this movie?
I'd say I learned that one person is all it takes to save a baby's life.
I learned that those 80s hamburger phones were built to last.
Everything in the 80s was built to last. That's not true.
No, it's not true at all. Well, what are you talking about? I've got a bunch of toys from the 80s that beg to differ on that front, thank you. So many broken 80s toys. So many broken 80s everything.
Yeah. I learned that people only have sex because they're bored, not because they're horny.
I learned that most people are actually very witty. You and the people you know are just really stupid.
Ouch.
Yeah. Totally.
I learned that the first thing you should do when you find out you're pregnant is do some heavy lifting.
Oh, yes, that won't go poorly at all.
Yeah.
You should definitely lift a 20-pound backpack and carry that around the building for 8 hours a day.
Yes, and also move an entire set of furniture into someone's front lawn.
Yes, that is the perfect plan for having a child.
Uh-huh.
I learned that pro-life activists are actually really mellow, reasonable people and not absolute psychopaths who sometimes murder doctors.
Oh, right. Yeah. Yeah, that's all just propaganda.
Yeah, I learned something new from this movie.
I learned that... Did I learn? No, I don't even think they ever got a bill. I learned that if you have a teen pregnancy and somebody pays all your hospital bills, that's the only thing that'll happen. You won't have any complications. You can just go back to riding your bike and playing the guitar with your boyfriend.
Oh, yeah.
You won't, there's...
Life goes on as normal right before, like it did before everything happened.
There's no lasting physical damage.
Absolutely not. Everything is just A-okay.
Mm-hmm.
You just give the baby up for adoption. They pay for your medical bills. You go and have the baby. Everything goes back to the way it was.
Oh, yeah. You basically have a brand new vagina.
Yeah. Nothing happened.
Mm-hmm.
Nothing happened at all.
Nope.
I learned that growing up means all your shit goes in a broom closet and you put on your baby making pants, and which in cases of infertility double as pregnant teen trolling pants.
I learned, because I don't even know if this is actually true or not, that you don't get a baby shower when you're adopting. You have to buy all that crap yourself because people don't think it's the same.
I don't think that's really a thing at all. I think that they do have baby showers, and I'm not sure why the movie treated it like people don't have baby showers when they adopt.
Am I the only one who thought that was really weird?
I don't think you are.
I feel like when...
There was even an episode of Curb Your Enthusiasm that dealt with this sort of thing around the same period that this movie was made.
Right? I feel like when my one aunt and uncle adopted a baby that we had a baby shower.
Yeah, because that's what people do when they have babies. Regardless of whether or not they're adopted.
Yep.
I'm sorry that some wombs don't carry babies.
Yep. Yep.
WTF, man.
Right.
Well, I learned that wisdom beyond your years won't prepare you for raw dogging.
Oh, well, I mean, it can prepare you for the raw dogging. It can't prepare you for the consequences of the raw dog.
Ah, yeah, there it is. Mm-hmm. Those damn consequences getting in the way.
Right. I learned that was she in California or the Midwest or the East Coast?
I don't know.
Small conservative towns definitely have their own abortion clinic that doesn't get any hate at all from the local rednecks.
Ah, well, that's just ideal living if you ask me.
Right? It really would be if it were real.
Man, think about that and how good that would be. Just they had a women's clinic within a 5-mile radius, wherever you are.
But you could literally run to your friend's house from it. That's how close it is. Walking distance.
That'd be awesome.
Yeah.
Yeah, life lessons from Juno, everybody.
Yep.
Mm-hmm.
Savor them.
Taste them. And then throw them back up.
Because they're not good for anything. And there's certainly no nutrients in them.
So, what's your final rating for Juno?
I'm on the cusp with this one, but I'll say go ahead and watch it. Watch it as long as you're not easily fooled. Because this movie dresses up nice like it's going to show you a good time, but it's all propaganda.
Yeah, but
it's like a chick track in movie form.
Yeah, but what's your rating?
I guess 2 pairs of skirts on top of pants and 1 blue slushie in an urn.
I will give it a broken boysenberry condom and a burnt CD that's cracked in half from the local guy who hits on all the teenage girls because he's a total perv.
Yeah.
The 40-year-old guy. Whose name happens to be Mark. Go away, Mark.
Yeah.
Stop trolling the girls.
Yeah.
Ugh. Well, I would say go ahead and watch this movie too, just to get a feel for what this kind of movie actually is, to see what propaganda does feel like. For what it is, I guess it's kind of well-made-ish propaganda, could we say?
Yeah, like that's why you got to be careful what state of like don't watch this one drunk or high because it'll trick you. It's tricksy.
Yeah.
This was a movie made by smart people, but it's got a bad message. It's dangerous.
On some level, it's kind of entertaining.
Yeah, not as entertaining as you think it's going to be, but not as boring as we're making it sound.
On another level, it's kind of excruciating to watch.
Yeah.
Because it's filled with so many things that definitely are not facts.
Yeah, it's like insulting.
It kind of, it does insult your intelligence, and it's filled with a lot of misconceptions about the way things actually are and how life actually works.
Yes.
Both in regards to born and unborn.
Yep. Fair assessment.
Yeah. So, again, go ahead, watch it, and try to keep in mind to have a critical eye while you watch it, because this movie does have a lot of things in it that are simply not true.
Yes.
And usually we don't watch this kind of movie where we're so utterly disgusted by it like we were with this one. But considering that this is such a prominent, well-known, and well-reviewed movie, we did choose to actually watch it this time.
Yeah, it's like one of those cultural, like, flagstones.
Yeah.
Like,
so we have
2007 or whatever was it? Like, boom, Juno.
Yeah, Juno is like the big movie of 2007. And looking back, we're just wondering why the hell was it?
Yeah.
God, this is horrible.
Yeah, it's bad. It's really bad. And like this movie came out the year I graduated high school. So it's like I wasn't much older than she was in here. So it's not, like I was of the perfect like age group that they were targeting this to. Yeah. And I still at the time was like, I don't know about this movie. It's not great.
Yeah, even I saw this movie and I'm like, I don't know about this one. Right. I was a lot more conservative politically at the time. And even I was looking at it going, this doesn't feel right. This
movie tastes bad, and I can't put my finger on why.
And now that we're a lot more educated, now we can look at this and go, that's why.
Why. It's manipulative as hell.
Oh, absolutely. I'm really surprised that I read that the woman who wrote this, Diablo Cody, again, I keep saying, I can't believe she thought that she was writing something that was very, I guess, progressive.
It's not.
It's not. And she doesn't understand why so many pro-life organizations gave it an endorsement and applauded it.
Oh, yeah. Got like an endorsement by like the Catholic News Network or something like that.
And I'm watching it going, you don't understand why, really? Where have you been?
Right. This is a Catholic's wet dream, this movie.
This movie is the movie that they obviously love. I was dating a Catholic girl at the time, and she loved this movie, of course.
Mm-hmm. Making the best out of a bad situation.
Yeah, pretty much.
Seeing the blessings.
Oh, God, that girl I was going with the girl that I was going out with at the time thought that a woman wasn't a real woman until she had had a baby.
Oh, I've heard that crap before.
Yeah. So,
a part of your soul is unawakened until you've made the miracle of life.
Yeah, so again, she loved this movie, and take a wild guess why. Because this really appealed to her on those levels. Yep. As a propaganda piece. Yep. That reinforces your bias.
Yes. That sweet, sweet bias.
Delicious. Blech. More like poison, honestly.
Yeah.
Anyway, guys, I suppose that's enough ragging on Juno for today. We've said our piece. We don't think it's a good movie.
It's not a good movie. It's a bad movie.
No, it's a bad movie for sure. Propaganda movies are always bad movies. Yeah. And again, usually we don't watch these kind of movies. Or I shouldn't say we don't watch them. We don't talk about them because we don't want to signal boost them usually. Right. We've watched a lot of movies that are really, really disgusting. Mm-hmm. And sometimes when we watch these disgusting movies, we're just looking at each other going, we cannot talk about this. This is too
bad. We don't want to give it attention. Bad. It needs to die in the void.
Yeah. It needs to die a quiet death, and we're not going to mention it at all, even by name.
Yeah, because you don't want to accidentally blow it up and get it attention. But like this one is already so popular, so many people have already seen it that we're not going to do any harm that way.
Yeah, so we figure might as well knock it down a peg because it certainly deserves it.
Right? Like this is the kind of movie that in like 10 years will be on a Trivial Pursuit card.
Yeah, this movie is trash and it deserves to be called trash.
Yeah, it's like pop culture trash.
Good Lord. Well, guys, really hope you enjoyed this one. We'll be back next time with A Night at the Bad Movies.
Ooh.
And this time we were thinking about going to see The Grudge, but guess what? Doolittle just came out, and you know what? It flopped.
Well, I love me some RDJ.
Oh yeah, Robert Downey Jr. in Doolittle. Can't wait to see how he stinks up the screen.
Mm-hmm.
And I hear that he's very open to returning to his Iron Man role. Presumably because Doolittle has bombed.
He thought he was getting himself a nice new franchise.
He might have.
Aww.
And I'm afraid that this one will not be getting a sequel.
Yeah.
But we do have to see this one while it's playing.
Yes.
So it looks like The Grudge is out and Doolittle is in. We'll be watching that pretty soon. Not quite sure when we plan on going, but we're going to go for sure.
Okay.
And then after that, I think we're going to watch Tall Girl.
Oh, I should never have shown you that one.
Oh boy, Tall Girl is a fun one. That movie took me about 3 attempts or so to get through the whole thing, and it's only maybe 100 minutes long.
I still haven't even finished it. God, at this point, I might have to start it over just to remember the crap that happens.
We're going to have to start over because, I mean, we just keep taking it in very short bursts, maybe 20 minutes or so, and then you just have to tap out.
It's like anal. You can only take it for so long. Jesus Christ.
Oh,
This isn't
boy.
an all-night activity, watching Tall Girl.
I know. This movie is a lot to take in. Boom.
Yep. Yep.
Well, we're going to get out the proverbial lube and ease down that last 5%.
Okay, you go first.
Yep. Sometimes you just got to take one for the team.
Yes.
Good Lord.
Yes.
Well, after that, I'm not too sure what we're going to do, but that's what we have in store for the future.
Mm-hmm.
And of course, if you want to check out some of our podcasts, you can also go on our YouTube channel where we're going to have a few new videos coming up pretty soon where we riff on some screenshots that Astrid has taken because she takes some of those.
Yes.
If you want to see the screenshots that she's taken for Juno, feel free to go to Angry Astrid on Twitter.
Yes.
And of course, our handle is at Case of Movie on Twitter, and I'm Soulkeeper at Soulkeeper. Mm-hmm. Very easy to find.
We highly recommend you follow all 3 accounts to stay updated.
Absolutely.
And also, we're hilarious.
I mean, that's a given, right?
Yes.
And that way you can keep up to date on just what's happening, what we're going to be doing. Mm-hmm. And, well, you can hear all the stupid thoughts we tend to have. Stupid people yelling into the void, so to speak.
Yes. Well worth your time.
Absolutely. Well, other than that, I think it's about time for us to head out. So, guys, we'll see you again very soon. We'll be back with Doolittle, followed by Tall Girl. Oh, good Lord. It's going to be a trashy.
Well, that's a week we're going to have.
Well, we just watched Samurai Cop and
We did.
Maximum Overdrive, too. So we're thinking about doing a couple of oldies but goodies pretty soon. Mm-hmm. Oh, God. Those movies were bad. Mm. Well, it's what we do. What can I say?
Yeah, we chose this life.
Yeah. The life chose me! The bad movie life! Ugh. All right, guys. Until next time, with love from us to you. Bye-bye.
Bye.